First thing I'm going to start with, this game ball goes to the whole Oxford community. All those were affected. And that being said, man, I want us to not forget these names: Madison Baldwin, Hannah St. Juliana, Justin Schilling, Tate Meir, Phoebe Arthur, John Ashudu, Riley France, Elijah Mueller, Kylie Osigi, Aiden Watson, and Molly Darnell, who's a teacher. Those names, for all those, will never be forgotten, and they're in our hearts and our prayers, and all the families, and not to mention all those that were affected.
Yo, that was incredible. Because this is Dan Campbell's first win as head coach of the Lions. Yeah. After a 0-10-1 start. And his priorities were still, and his heart was still in the right place enough to dedicate that win in that game.
Yes.
To the Oxford shooting victims. I mean, that's classy. That's classy, that's moving. Congratulations to the Lions, because it's like, this is where it's like all the years, Michael, I know, you as well, you spent around coaches and GMs, and a lot of that, it's hard for that coach speak to not kind of sink in and become your way of thinking. So
that's right.
I apologize in advance if I start to, spew cliches, but it's like, this is what they're talking about when they say like, and it's the same in life. It's like, keep pounding or keep chopping wood, or, whatever the phrase you want to say. Yeah, whatever the phrase you want to say. It's like when you finally get that result, it's like trust the process even. It's like this process that we've been going through week after week, day after day, practice after practice, meeting after meeting, for it to finally pay off doesn't necessarily validate the process as much as it rewards the process. The process is what it is. And you got to believe in that regardless of what the outcome is. And for those guys to keep believing enough to, even when they looked like they were about to choke this thing away again, it was 20-6, and then they turn it over and it's 27-23, and it's like, but they go down, 14-play drive?
Yeah.
To get this touchdown on the last play and reward those fans. So a friend of mine said yesterday, it was like, why do people even go to Lions games at this point? I mean, so not just the Lions players and coaches, but those fans who keep coming Sunday after Sunday and waited 364 damn days to see their team victorious again. It just, what did you text? You texted me yesterday, man. I'm so happy for the Lions.
I did. I'm so freaking happy. I'm so freaking happy for the Lions. They've played 12 games. They have one victory. Okay, so let's just start here. They're not a good football team, but they're not a one-win team. They probably should have 3 so far. They should be about 3-9. But they are 1-10-1, and they've had a lot of opportunities like yesterday. So you want to talk about analytics? I was watching this game the last 3 or 4 minutes, and I'm like, oh, don't do it, Dan, don't do it. On 4th and 1 from his own 30, I can't remember what it was. He was in his own side of the field, and whoever was announcing the game said, no, he probably shouldn't do this. They shouldn't do this. And then they put up a chart. Analytics says punt. All the evidence, against all the evidence, they go for it on 4th down. It's a miserable play. Jared Goff, awful. Fumbles. It's like, okay, just so many things go wrong on that play. And it looks like they're about to lose it. And for them to, give up a touchdown, not a field goal, they gave up a touchdown to come back and win that game is awesome. But you're right. His view of Oxford, his sense of what matters is impressive. And I can see a cynic saying, well, okay, do you think that makes it better for those who are affected? Yes, it does. Because when people go through tragedy, obviously it doesn't bring their loved ones back if they've lost them. It doesn't take the injuries away. But what they're looking for is something to hold on to. And for some people, they hold on to their faith. Other people just hold on to normal routines. It's like, hey, can I watch a game at least? And sometimes it takes your mind away from the bigger thing. Or just remind you that part of life still makes sense to you.
Or that you matter. or that it matters. Like, I live down the road from Sandy Hook. The world keeps spinning. And we have such a short attention span, is why, there's the endless cycle of outrage and we got to change something. And then the next thing you know, it's no longer top of mind until the next mass shooting. Right. And so if anything, for those victims and survivors whose worlds are shattered, it lets you know that the rest of the world just isn't oblivious to your pain. But if we could pivot back to football, though, I do want to look at the other side of this. We went down football video game memory lane a few seconds ago.
Yeah.
You and I have spent a lot of nights playing Madden.
Too many.
Give you a specific image I want you to kind of hone in on. Do you remember when, you pick a play, or I pick a play, you're on defense, and I pick a play.
Yeah.
And you got like 5 seconds after I pick a play to pick a play. And that 5 seconds goes fast. And you may not pick the play you wanted to pick, but you had to hurry up and pick a play. Whatever the hell that coverage was that the Vikings defense was in on the last play, it looked like they did not know what the situation was, and they got stuck picking the wrong play.
Look at it.
Because I think somebody, starting with defensive guru Mike Zimmer, who I ain't calling for nobody's firing, but it might be time. It might be time for Mike Zimmer. Do you not understand that there's such a thing as a goal line, the plane of which merely has to be broken in order for you to score a touchdown? No way should Amon-Ra St. Brown have been able to proceed unimpeded across the goal line unless the Vikings just felt sorry for the Lions. What on earth were they doing in that situation? So last week, we got a quarterback that doesn't know the difference between a center and a guard. This week, we have an entire defense, none of whom thought to think, yeah, guys, we don't need to be playing like we're defending a Hail Mary here. Like, we got to make sure we at least don't allow them to get.
And look at it. Okay, and to really support what you're saying, all right, look at the game situation. This is one of those, in a classroom situation, the defensive coordinator says, okay, now think about what we're doing. It's 4th down, so it's the last play of the game. Look at the game. It's 4 seconds. They don't have a lot of time. This is going to be a quick hitting play. It's 4 seconds. What do we do here? Wow. Look at him.
It's the dropping back. It's the dropping back. The alignment was fine. The alignment in terms of protecting the end zone. Give up anything in front of you. That's fine. But you don't drop back. I'm not saying you get up in their face and you jam them. I'm saying don't drop back and allow them to settle across the goal line.
Why not?
That was poor. That was so poorly coached.
Why not? Okay, but I'm saying, like Chris Sims, I thought about this yesterday. Chris Sims came on last Thursday, I believe it was, and he said Jared Goff is the worst starting quarterback in football. Remember that? And I just smiled because that's my guy. That's my dude.
That's his first win with a coach not named McVay yesterday, by the way.
Yeah, because they just kind of called him out. They scapegoated him in Los Angeles, so I'm rooting for him. So he said it's the worst starting quarterback in football. Nobody blinked because where's the lot?
Because
he's in there. He's in the conversation. But if he's not the worst, he's in the bottom 5. So why are you playing him as if he's capable of making all the throws with accuracy? You could actually have an aggressive coverage against him. It's like that.
Okay.
I remember. Here's another one. I'm going to mix sports here for a second. I just remember Kenny Smith saying one time, I was talking to him about the Celtics, and he was talking about, and Rajon Rondo was on the Celtics. He said, teams actually do him a favor when they play off of him.
Right. He can see the floor.
He can see the floor and see the floor, and that's the one scenario where he can make a shot. He said, play up on him. Like, if you think he's a bad shooter, don't give a bad shooter
an open
shot. So in this case, Jared Goff, who is a flawed quarterback, you gave him the perfect scenario by playing back. I would have rushed him because he doesn't handle that well. He didn't handle that well the entire game.
I get your logic, but in that scenario, just protect the end zone. And that includes the goal line. They had the right idea, poor execution.
I want him moving around.
I mean, and that's such a Vikings thing. That's such a Vikings thing to do. Like we have jokes about the Lions, we have jokes about the Bengals, jokes about the Chargers. There is not a more tortured fan base than Minnesota. As much as Minnesota, and coming from somebody from New Orleans, has been on the other side of it as well, they've experienced their highs. Minnesota finds new and creative ways to not only make a game close, but to lose it. Of all the teams you would have said is going to lose to Detroit, Minnesota would have been at the top of the list. Because that was a very Minnesota Vikings thing to do at the end of that game.
Hey, thanks for watching Brother from Another on YouTube. Make sure you hit subscribe before you leave, and be sure to watch us 3 to 5 p.m. Eastern Time on Peacock. Appreciate you.